Valentine's Day. What's the point? Welcome to this week's Ask Jay. Jayson Mair here, your relationship coach, answering your relationship questions. Thank you for joining us. Now, normally I have one or two questions to answer, but because we're doing the Valentine's Day special, which is coming up, we thought, well, let's just overall address Valentine's Day all up front, because we get it every year. I get all these questions about why should I do Valentine's Day? Why should I do all the commercial and spend all the money and spend it all on that one day when really I do things for my other half all the time? So why should I do it that day? What's the point? You know, it's just all blah, blah, and you have to do this and you have to do that. So, you know, it's oh so overrated. Why should we do it? So that's what we're going to address this week's episode. As I said, a lot of people say it's overrated and you know, very commercial and everything else, which, look, yeah, there's some fair facts there to back that up. But look, I tried to look at it as, you know, instead of having it as a, look, we all know about Cupid and celebrating love and everything else. That's what it should be about, instead of this commercial idea of you must do this and must do that. So what I usually say is, instead of calling it Valentine's Day, maybe make it a day where it's a celebration of your relationship, you know, celebrating of the love that you had, you know, for each other when you first got together, because maybe it's been many years and it feels like you still love each other, but might not have the connection you used to be. So instead of calling it Valentine's Day, maybe call it the Relationship Celebration Day is probably, you know, the quoted term you should use when you're referring to Valentine's Day. So if that is the case, this is how Valentine's Day should be handled. So as usual, break it down into the 3 tips as always. First tip really is, don't feel pressured. February 14th is the day, correct? Now, if you go out on February 14th, you'll know, as we all do, the restaurants are fully booked. There's people everywhere. There's people walking around selling roses. Everything feels pressured. It feels like it's all staged and just way over the top. And sometimes you just don't feel like you've got that really love connection by handing over a hell of a lot more money. I mean, some places will charge 20-30% more for the nights and have specials and wine and everything else. Great. But you don't have to do it on February 14th. For example, myself and my partner, we usually do it the day before or day after, or even the weekend before or the weekend after. So if you're going to do it, do it. Use it as a bit of a reminder or a kick up the butt to say, hey, let's feel grateful for each other. Let's just, you know, be there for each other and you know, celebrate what we have and get back in touch with each other. But we do it on the 13th or the 12th or the 15th or the 20th. And it doesn't have to be the night. It might be, you might go away for a weekend. So anyway, we'll get to that in a moment. So when you go through, because Valentine's Day is a vehicle for the celebration. It doesn't have to be done that way, okay? So secondly, when you're doing it and when you're trying to come up with an idea for Valentine's Day, go back to basics. Tip 2. Meaning, let's go back to when you first got together, right? It doesn't matter if it's a couple of months or a couple of years, it might have been 20 years ago. When you got together, did you think about, oh, you know, in 10 years' time, we're going to be, you know, just working our butts off 5, 6 days a week, 40, 50 hours a week, hardly ever seeing each other, not even really, yeah, good night, bye, morning, you know, no love connection, not you used to be. When you first got back together, you know, especially if you've had kids, I mean, seriously, that just all goes out the window, as a lot of people know. You know, they're pooping and spewing everywhere and everything, and it really puts a strain on a relationship. So you got to go back to the start. When you got together, when you first met, and Valentine's Day came up, you know, you're like, oh, I want to do something special. This is what I want you to do for Valentine's Day this year, or the next time you do Valentine's special. Or, as I called it before, the Relationship Celebration Day special, which is, if you went back when you were younger and you first got together, Did you go to the movies? Did you go on for a weekend away, maybe a planned secret holiday away just for a couple of days down the coast or something like that? Do that again. Yes, there's going to be issues with finances and stuff, but look, this is what you used to love doing when you first got together. This is the basics. You got together and you did things to surprise your other half. When was the last time you did that? See, I look at Valentine's Day as sometimes, I used to say it's for sorry, don't get me wrong here. I used to say sometimes it was for the douchebags who never did anything for their other half the whole year. And it was a bit of a kick up the arse to say, hey, douchebag, maybe you need to spend some time with the other half and do something for them. But really, when you look at it, sometimes we are so bogged down and busy with life these days. If you've got kids, it's even worse. You've got work, you've got house, you've got the in-laws, you've got her in-laws, your in-laws, everyone else's in-laws and everything else, and friends and family, social media and everything else that's going on. Now, what happens is we start to forget and lose that connection. We need to drop the roles. When I say that is, we have to stop being, the mother or the father or the husband and the wife or the boyfriend and girlfriend, and go back to being who you were when you first met, the John and Jane, or the Jane and Ange, or the Maddie and Luke, or the Steve and Joan, whoever you are. You need to go back to those, even those kids that you were when you first started, and just saying, hey, this is what I need to do, to be me, because that's what we lose in a relationship. We forget to, the reason why we got together in the first place. We forget that connection, that, that spark where we used to go and do something. And then when we surprise them, they were so pumped about it. That's what it should be about. Reconnecting, getting back to basics. If it's movies, if it's bowling, if it's a comedy night, if it's a day date, if it's down the park, whatever it is, get back and make it special. Doesn't have to be millions of dollars spent. If you did that and you've got the money to do it, fine, but a lot of us don't. So just go on quality, not quantity. Okay, hopefully you get that. And tip number 3 is be sincere and be grateful. Meaning, if it's you that does it for your other half or the other half does it for you, really be sincerely grateful for them doing it. Don't go, oh, well, I expected Valentine's Day to be a time where, I was going to get, 12 roses and I was going to get dinner cooked for me and I was going to be able to go out and everything else. And it didn't happen. That's not being grateful. Recognize the intention. Recognize that they actually have put some effort in, even if it might be exactly what you want. Now, an extra tip to getting what you want, or if you even want to do this, discuss this early on in the relationship. Say, are we going to do Valentine's Day? What do you think about it? Do you mind doing something? I want to do some things to really celebrate you and surprise you and that. There's some people that go, no, do not do anything for me. And yes, there are some people that say they don't want you to do something, but they do. And they would be very appreciative and grateful if you did. So, do it anyway. But don't have to go overboard, and don't go on about having to outdo last year's Valentine's Day, or the neighbours, they went away on a cruise. Big deal. They had the money to go on a cruise. You don't. You want to do something and you go on a cruise, you're with heaps of people, you're not connecting with yourself. Yeah, you're lazing on the sun deck and everything, but it's about connection. It's about quality over quantity. So, as I said before, don't feel pressured. Don't feel pressured about doing it and when you're going to do it and what you're going to do. Do it freshly and calmly and naturally. Get back to basics. Tip number 2, go back to what you used to do when you first met, just to spring it up a little bit, sort of thing, even if it's going back to an old place where you met, maybe the first date or something like that. And 3, be sincere and grateful. Now, when I say be sincere and grateful, when you're out on these dates, and you feel a conversation is coming up, or you want to have a conversation about something that's, needs to be addressed. It might be, oh, look, we can't afford this because we've got this bill or that bill. Just for this one time, don't bring it up. Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know I'm a big believer of not brushing things under the carpet. But tonight, I just want you to lift the rug up, slide it under the rug, and keep it there just for this day, because it is not about the Valentine's Day. It is about the connection. It is about you two getting back and really looking into each other's eyes again, which you probably haven't done for a while because you're so damn busy doing, life. If the things that are coming up, don't react, overreact to it. Don't turn it into something that's not. Just enjoy each other's company, because that's not what you did when you first started. When you first started, everything was, oh, that was cute, nice, so nice, and get back to it. Because when I've done this with clients that I've worked with, they come to me and they go, you know what, we sat there just holding hands and it didn't even say anything for about 10 minutes while we're waiting for the dinner to arrive. And it was just nice to be able to appreciate that time and that connection again, which we'd forgotten about. Because that's what it should be all about. Cupid was shooting arrows into people to go, hey, this chick is hot for you and this guy is good for you and you guys should hook up. That's why you got together. However it was, it might have been Tinder, it would have been a drunken night, whatever it is, but you got together and you continued because there was that love. So bring that back into it again. So there you go. There's your 3 tips. Hopefully they will help you coming up to Valentine's Day. Have a wonderful day, or a relationship celebration day as I'm going to call it. Enjoy being with each other. Now, if you have some tips for Valentine's Day, don't be afraid to put them in the comments below. As always, subscribe to this video, because the more subscribers, the more times you will get alerted when we're going to do one of these videos, and you get the latest tips and strategies to make your relationship just that much better. Because, hey, if I can just change one relationship and improve it a hell of a lot better, I've done my job. So, thank you very much for watching wherever you are. If you have any questions as well, keep them coming in at j@jasonmair.com. Thanks again. Wherever you are in the world, have a happy Valentine's Day. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night.